Richard Parsons, as chairman of Citigroup and as former chief executive officer and chairman of Time Warner, you are one of the most respected corporate executives in the nation. You rose from a working-class background to earn a bachelor's degree at the University of Hawaii and worked your way through Albany Law School, where you graduated at the top of your class. After becoming a lawyer, you joined the legal team of then New York Governor Nelson Rockefeller and accompanied him to Washington when he became vice president. In 1997, you joined the New York law firm of Patterson, Belknap, Webb & Tyler, where you developed a reputation as a skillful negotiator. You became chairman and chief executive officer of the Dime Savings Bank of New York and were instrumental in guiding that institution back to solid ground after it had come close to financial collapse. You provided the same steady hand to Time Warner during the unsettled period surrounding its merger with AOL. You are active in public service and have served on the economic advisory team of President Barack Obama, co-chaired President George W. Bush's Social Security Commission, and served on the transition teams of New York mayors Michael Bloomberg and Rudolph Giuliani. In recognition of your contributions to business, Montclair State University proudly bestows upon you, Richard Parsons, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters honoris causa.
Thank you, President Cole. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the State of New Jersey and the Board of Trustees of Montclair State University, and upon the recommendation of the President and faculty, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters honoris causa with all the rights, duties, privileges, and immunities thereunto appertaining, of which this diploma is the written witness.
It's there.
Thank you, President Cole and Trustee Pinkett. After someone reads something like that, you feel like you ought to be dead, right? They're speaking over you. But that's another story. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and particularly to the graduates. The best place to start one of these is always to say congratulations. You did it, and I stand and basking in your glow, because today is your day, tonight is your night, and I have the highest esteem for all of you as graduates of this distinguished institution. When I got the letter asking me if I would come and speak and receive a degree, say a few words, I'd heard a lot about Montclair, and I knew about its sort of origins, and I thought, you know, that would be a place that I'd like to go and talk to some of the graduates. And so I said yes. I was intrigued by the dean's letter, and I agreed to it. After I agreed to it, I got another letter saying, well, that's good. It's going to be on such and such a time, such and such a place. Come and speak, and try and knock it out in 5 minutes if you can. So, I'm going to give it a go. So, the hardest part of all these things is, you know, what do you talk about? What do you say to a group of people who are just looking to bust out and get to the party, right? And I was talking to my wife, who had just come from an event where she heard a lecture, and the subject matter intrigued me. It was on something called sensitive dependence on initial conditions. Now, what is that? It's also euphemistically referred to nowadays as the butterfly effect. It's a theory or a branch of a theory in chaos theory, propounded by a guy named Lorenz. Edward Lorenz was a meteorologist who was trying to do some weather predictions 50 years ago. And he punched in some numbers into his computer, and just to sort of make the process go faster, he didn't, some of these numbers sort of run out to 8, 9 integers past the decimal. Instead of putting in a number 5.5061, he cut everything off into thousands and put 0.506. And he ran some projections, and it turned out that losing that 1/10,000th of a point totally changed the weather prediction. And he was intrigued by that, did some study on it, and came up with this theory that small acts, very, very small acts, at the beginning of a process or a systemic set of conditions can reverberate, they can cause a chain of events that cause a huge impact at the end. And when he wrote a paper in '63 that described this so-called phenomenon, and one of the meteorologists who listened to it says that, well, if this theory is right, then the flapping of one seagull could change weather forever. And Lorenz thought about that for a while. He changed it to the more poetic butterfly, but it became known as the butterfly effect. And you see it, and it's a real thing. It exists in life, and I thought that would be an interesting premise for talking to a group of graduates and making the point that just as, a butterfly flapping its wings can change the weather, each of you, has the opportunity to change the world. But as I thought about it some more, think about the converse of that theory, right? If a very tiny, small act can cause a chain of events that leads to larger consequences, probably the converse of that is that every act causes some change in consequence, in outcome, in circumstance. And the implication of that is that not only can each of you make a difference in this world, each of you will make a difference in this world. The world will be a different place because you were here and because you did whatever it is you did. That will be in some small, maybe even infinitesimally small, but nevertheless consequential and significant way, a contribution to how the world turns out. So the real issue isn't, can I make a difference? You will make a difference. You're here. You've already made a difference and you'll continue to make a difference. The real question is, what kind of difference? And I don't suggest that any of us have the foresight, or perspicacity, or power to project exactly how these small acts that we perform will reverberate through society and cause the world to be different. But we can at least do this. We can think about the difference we're making, what kind of difference it is, and try and be mindful of the fact that by virtue of the fact that we're here, we are shaping and changing this world, and what kind of difference do we want to make. So I give you that by way of perspective. Now I'm also, as I got 1 30-second bite left, I'm not mindful of the fact that this is a business school that you're graduating from, and I thought I would just share with you one perspective from my career. When I was running Time Warner was a really big holding company, media entertainment. We had lots of different divisions, which were very different from one another, and it was always a struggle to try and find out what bound us together, what brought us together, what did we share culturally within our company. And from my perspective, whether I was talking to my cable guys or my movie guys or my magazine guys or my AOL guys, I would always say this, or start everything by saying, look, here's what we have in common in this company. We exist to do 3 things, and we want to do 3 things. Number 1, we want to give our shareholders a fair return on their investment in us. Almost regardless of what any of you go to work for after this, even if you go to work for yourself, you are managing someone else's investment in you, someone else's money. And you owe those who invest in you or your company or your dream a fair return on that investment. That was number 1. Number 2, we need to do some good in the world. Most people, and particularly at your age and stage, they don't want to just have a job. They want to make a difference. They want to make a positive difference. They want to make the world a better place. And if you can inculcate that through your company, that's something that virtually all your employees will resonate to. And then number three, we want to have some fun, because you're talented people. You have options in this world. And if where you work, or how you work, if it isn't not only rewarding, but fun, you're going to go find someplace else to work. So those were our three mantras. Now I realize that on an evening like this, with a graduating class like this, the emphasis ought to be on the third of those three. So I urge you, go out, have some fun. You deserve it. Thank you for your courtesy of listening.